In a world full of endless pursuits, money, fame, pleasure, why do so many of us still feel empty? Swiss psychiatrist, psychotherapist and psychologist Dr. Carl Gustav Jung believed the answer lies in a descent into our own psyche, uncovering hidden parts of ourselves we have left untapped. Imagine this journey as an adventure with challenges, insights, and moments that test you against the currents of the unconscious. Jung called this the individuation process, a path that brings us closer to who we truly are, revealing a source of inner strength that remains grounded amidst life's shifting tides. Through this journey, Jung laid the groundwork for a life of inner strength and self-realization. Today, we'll explore how Jung's insights into self-discovery can change your life. To connect with this deeper part of ourselves is to find a state of calm, untouched by emotional upheaval. Life's aim, according to Jung, isn't about achieving perfection, but embracing wholeness. He saw life as unfolding in two main phases within the individuation process. The first half is directed outward, toward building careers, relationships, and gaining education. It's here we dive fully into life's challenges, which help to form our character. This active engagement with the world becomes the fertile ground for our soul, offering the essential nourishment that promotes inner healing. This is why staying close to nature matters deeply. It's not enough to live in abstract ideas. Rather, it's through our body, emotions, and instincts that we stay rooted in the real. For Jung, grounding in simplicity was essential, as reflected in his retreat at Bollingen. In his later years, Jung cherished a life grounded in timeless simplicity, a choice he felt was essential for inner exploration. Reflecting on his retreat, in Memories, Dreams, Reflections, he wrote, "In the tower at Bollingen, it is as if one lived in many centuries simultaneously. The place will outlive me, and in its location and style, it points backwards to things of long ago. There is very little about it to suggest the present. If a man of the 16th century were to move into the house, only the kerosene lamp and the matches would be new to him. Otherwise, he would know his way about without difficulty. There is nothing to disturb the dead, neither electric light nor telephone. Moreover, my ancestors' souls are sustained by the atmosphere of the house, since I answer for them the questions that their lives once left behind." Bollingen became a sanctuary where he could anchor himself in reality, tending to practical tasks that freed him from the pull of modern distractions. Through Jungian understanding, the richness of our inner life mirrors the vastness of the external world. The inner world is as vast as the outer one, and we live in both realms. Yet many people neglect this inner dimension, existing only partially alive. As they enter the second half of life unprepared, they may face a midlife crisis, having never learned to integrate both worlds. In times of intense hardship, we find ourselves in a desperate search for our soul, only to realize that societal values offer little guidance. Conformity, more than cowardice, erodes our individuality and undermines true courage. This courage to live authentically becomes the foundation of true self-discovery. We are often drawn to the seemingly easier path of blending in with the crowd, losing sight of our true selves. Yet, it takes real courage to stand apart. A person can be surrounded by others and still feel entirely alone, disconnected from their own essence. The search for the soul is a solitary one, and if we ignore this calling, it remains restless, unsettling us, and refusing to let us be. These challenges, however, have purpose. They serve as prompts, urging us to engage in soul work. Without life's trials, we may never find the resolve needed to rise above the complacency of daily existence. Friedrich Nietzsche writes in Daybreak, "When I am among the many, I live as the many do, and I do not think as I really think. After a time, it always seems as though they want to banish me from myself and rob me of my soul, and I grow angry with everybody and fear everybody. I then require the desert so as to grow good again." Nietzsche expresses the idea that being in a crowd pressures him to conform, causing him to lose his true self, and only solitude can restore his sense of authenticity and peace. Rather than confront our inner truth, people will go to great lengths, however irrational, to avoid confronting their own soul. The path to ruin is wide, and many take it, while the path to inner peace is narrow, traveled by few. Through the trials of the soul, we gain the wisdom to nourish it. Neglecting this only invites inner turmoil. Every step forward in human consciousness is born from the soul's suffering. Embrace your sorrow, for it is there that your soul finds growth. Much like indigenous tribes, Jung understood that losing touch with the soul brings a deep sense of emptiness to life. When a community no longer finds meaning in its way of living, it may lose the will to thrive, even choosing to fade away despite abundant resources. Physical sustenance alone cannot nourish the human spirit. In response to today's hollow pursuits, Jung would encourage us to set out boldly on the path of self-realization, one that delves into the depths of our inner world, the realm of the unconscious. To Dr. Jung, this path is the real adventure of living. Without the soul, the body has no life, and without the body, the soul remains intangible. The soul is where our highest values reside. Dreams, in turn, are the soul's whispers, offering us guiding insights. We should hold these dreams close, revisiting them as we would the cherished words of someone beloved. Each dream is a small concealed gateway into the most secret depths of the soul, leading us back into the primordial embrace of cosmic night, the psyche's ancient realm that existed long before ego or self-awareness.
Now we must see what you dream, because the dream is a manifestation of the unconscious side. Now he never has heard of the unconscious side. So I must explain to him that he has an unconscious, and that the dream is a manifestation of it, and if we succeed in analyzing the dream, we might get an idea about that power that makes him think like that. You see? In such a case, one can begin right away with the analysis of dreams. And in all cases that are a bit serious, mind you, this is not a simple case, this is a very serious and difficult case. In spite of the simplicity of the phenomenology, of the symptomatology. In all cases, after the preliminaries, as it were, history of the family, the whole medical anamnesis, etc., we come to that question. What is it in your unconscious that makes you wrong, that hinders you to think normally? And then we are there where we can begin with the observation of the unconscious. And then, day by day, one goes on by the data the unconscious produces. You see, we discuss the dream, and that gives a new surface to the whole problem. And he will have another dream, and the next dream gives again an answer, because the unconscious is in a compensatory relation to consciousness, and after a while we get the full picture. And if he has the full picture and has the necessary moral stamina, well, then he can be cured. But in the end, it is a moral question whether a man applies what he had learned or not.
Carl Gustav Jung's understanding of dreams was only the beginning of his search. Beyond his exploration with dreams, Jung pioneered a method he called active imagination, a practice of consciously engaging with hidden aspects of the self residing in the unconscious. Unlike dreaming, this approach unfolds in full awareness, allowing for a deliberate passage through the psyche. Jung developed this technique during what he called his dark night of the soul, a midlife crisis marked by overwhelming visions that pulled him into unfamiliar psychological realms. Confronted with what felt like an inner death, he chose to turn inward rather than yield to despair, opening a path that led him to the unseen layers of his soul. It was through this intense period of self-reflection that Jung began creating a testament to his inner breakthroughs. This path led Jung to create the Red Book, Liber Novus, a monumental work that offers humanity a direct path to the depths of the soul. Within, he writes, I must learn that the dregs of my thought, my dreams, are the speech of my soul. I must carry them in my heart, and go back and forth over them in my mind, like the words of the person dearest to me. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Why should I henceforth not love my dreams, and not make their riddling images into objects of my daily consideration? You think that the dream is foolish and ungainly. What is beautiful? What is ungainly? What is clever? What is foolish? The spirit of this time is your measure, but the spirit of the depths surpasses it at both ends. Only the spirit of this time knows the difference between large and small, but this difference is invalid, like the spirit which recognizes it. From Jung's perspective, understanding the soul meant embracing every thought and image, even those dismissed by conventional wisdom. Dreams became a gateway to the unfathomed reaches of the self, revealing a path uniquely his own, one that demanded courage and a willingness to face the mysteries within. This intimate connection with the self draws us into mystical synchronicity. When we connect deeply with our inner self, we become magnetically attuned to synchronicities, meaningful patterns in life where our inner experiences resonate powerfully with events in the outer world. The path to individuation begins with facing and integrating the shadow, an often misunderstood part of ourselves. This shadow is not an adversary, but a source of hidden strength containing untapped potential waiting to enrich our personality and ultimately helping us become who we are afraid to be. Left unacknowledged, it can darken, influencing us in ways we don't realize. By becoming mindful of our emotional impulses and recognizing when we project our own struggles onto others, we open the door to greater self-awareness. Only by confronting the shadow can we descend to the soul's core, where we encounter what Jung termed the anima, the feminine qualities in men, and the animus, the masculine qualities in women. These contrasexual images reside in our psyche, each essential to achieving wholeness. Integrating these elements is only the beginning. If integrating the shadow is an introductory step, then integrating the soul image is the true masterpiece of inner work. The anima, representing life itself, is integrated when we take our inner feelings, moods, and fantasies seriously and express them through creative outlets like painting, writing, sculpture, or music. Without this connection, we may feel drained and lifeless, but bringing these unconscious contents to light enriches our lives. The animus, by contrast, is the source of meaning, bringing depth to a woman's inner world and grounding it in reality. It bestows qualities of initiative, courage, and spiritual insight, steering clear of cold judgments or restrictive ideals. Without integration, a woman may feel trapped in dreams that detach her from life. With it, she gains strength and clarity. The integration of the soul image clears a path to the deepest part of our being, the self. True wholeness, according to Jung, comes from uniting the opposites within us, allowing both our light and dark sides to coexist in harmony. He saw the process of individuation as mirroring the alchemical process for the philosopher's stone, a symbol of the self hidden within each of us. William Blake poetically captured this sentiment in The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. That energy, called evil, is alone from the body, and that reason, called good, is alone from the soul. For Jung, alchemy wasn't about turning metal into gold. It was a metaphor for the inner transformation that leads to expanded consciousness and self-realization. When we feel lost or uncertain in life, the answer lies in surrendering to the higher wisdom of the self, our inner guide and unwavering companion through every phase of life.
I was always looking for something in between, something that linked that remote past with the present moment. And I found, to my amazement, it is alchemy. It is the basis of our modern way of conceiving things. And therefore, it is as if it were right under the threshold of consciousness.
Jung didn't view himself as a healer. He saw himself as a guide, helping others discover their own capacity to heal. He believed true healing springs from within each person, growing naturally and authentically. This inner search for the self cultivates empathy, mutual understanding, and a deepened bond with others on their own paths to psychological growth. In nurturing this, we enrich our connection to ourselves, others, and the world. As Frank Herbert eloquently captured, the mystery of life isn't a problem to solve, but a reality to experience. No special knowledge is needed to connect with our inner self, only a willingness to turn inward, to reflect on what brings meaning, and to care for what brings us joy and fulfillment. This quote is found in a short letter written in 1916 as a response to Fanny Bowditch, whom Jung agreed to take on as a patient after he would return from his military service. Dr. Carl Gustav Jung wrote, "I realize that under the circumstances you have described you feel the need to see clearly, but your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Without, everything seems discordant. Only within does it coalesce into unity. Who looks outside dreams? Who looks inside awakes.
I never could claim that any kind of human work could reveal something about the nature of God or about his existence. I only know that the idea of God is a pattern, an age-old pattern, a primitive pattern that always has been and never lost its, what we call, numinosity. It is always there and it still plays the same role as it always did. We can establish the existence of that pattern, and that is for our practical purposes enough. Because when we can integrate such an idea in our mind, the idea of such a being, then that gives an entirely different scope to things.